I never thought the day would come when I would confess this to anyone. For years, I worked as a mortuary attendant. By day, I prepared dead bodies for burial, but by night, I was doing things so evil that even demons must have laughed at me. I sold human parts from the mortuary to ritualists. I touched what should never be touched. Sometimes, I even slept with the corpses of young girls whose bodies were still fresh. I told myself, they are already dead, it doesn't matter. But one day, it caught up with me. I died. And where I landed, I realized every evil act I did in secret had been recorded in heaven. I went to hell, and what I saw there is the reason I'm alive today, to warn every mortuary worker and everyone listening to me now. Because hell is real, and you may not get the second chance Jesus gave me. Matthew 10 verse 28 says, "Do not be afraid of those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell." Before I share my terrifying encounter with hell, I just want to take a moment to thank every single one of you who has been supporting this channel. Your comments, your shares, your prayers, and your faith have kept these testimonies alive. Many of you write that these stories have changed your life, saved your soul, or drawn you closer to God. That means more than I can explain. If you are new here, welcome to a family that believes in truth, no matter how painful it sounds. We are not here to entertain, but to warn, to prepare, and to help people understand that eternity is real. So please, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay with me to the end, because what you're about to hear might be the last warning someone needs before it's too late. I speak to you today with tears in my heart. My name is Joseph. I was born in the late 1970s, in a small town where poverty was the order of the day. My father was a farmer, my mother sold food in the market, and we struggled just to eat. I grew up with the belief that money was the only thing that could give me respect. And because of that, I was willing to do anything to have it. By the year 2002, I found myself working as a mortuary attendant in a government hospital. At first, it was just a job. I handled dead bodies, cleaned them, embalmed them, and prepared them for burial. It was a profession many people feared, but I told myself, the dead can't hurt you. But deep down, I had another problem: I was a lukewarm Christian. I attended church sometimes, mostly during Christmas or Easter. I knew about God, but I also carried secret sins. I smoked, I drank heavily, and I had many women. My heart was hard. I thought religion was for weak people. Whenever preachers spoke about hell, I laughed. I would tell my friends, "Don't let these pastors deceive you. Hell is just a story they made up to control people." It wasn't long before the devil found a way to use my work against me. Some men began approaching me secretly. They were ritualists. They told me, "You have access to the dead. We will pay you good money if you can supply us with human parts." At first, I was afraid, but the money was too much for me to resist. One transaction gave me more than my entire monthly salary. I told myself, this is easy. Nobody will know. The dead can't complain. Slowly, I became bold. I would cut off fingers, tongues, or private parts from corpses and sell them. I became greedy. Anytime a body was brought in, the first thing I thought about was, what part can I sell? But my evil didn't stop there. Something darker entered me. There were nights I was alone in the mortuary, and when they brought the bodies of young women who had just died in accidents or sickness, I looked at their faces, their fresh skin, their bodies still warm. A strange desire would come over me. I told myself, nobody will ever know. She is dead. And so, I began defiling the dead. I committed acts so shameful that even now my heart trembles remembering them. I was worse than a beast. Yet, after every evil act, I wiped my hands, washed my face, and went home as if nothing had happened. My conscience was gone. I thought I was untouchable. I believed that as long as I lived, I could repent someday when I was old. I told myself, God is merciful. I will just say sorry at the end. But I was wrong. I did not know that death was closer than I thought, and that one day, I would be the body lying cold in the mortuary, and my soul would be dragged to a place I had always denied existed. It was a rainy evening in August 2010. I remember because the hospital was unusually quiet. I had just finished drinking a bottle of gin in my small office. Earlier that day, I had sold the private parts of a young man who had died in a motorcycle accident to a ritualist. My pocket was full of cash, but my soul was empty. As I sat back, I felt a sharp pain shoot through my chest. At first, I thought it was just the alcohol burning my stomach. But the pain grew worse. It was as though an invisible hand squeezed my heart tightly. I gasped for air, clutched my chest, and fell to the floor. My eyes rolled back, and everything around me went dark. Suddenly, I felt myself being lifted out of my body. I looked down and saw something that shook me. I was lying on the ground, motionless. My mouth was wide open, and my eyes were staring blankly. I screamed, "No! No! This cannot be me!" But no one could hear me. The room became ice cold. Then, I heard footsteps, heavy, dragging footsteps. Out of the corner of the room, shadows began to stretch and gather. Two dark beings appeared, tall, with faces like skulls covered in burnt flesh. Their eyes glowed red, and their hands were like claws. One of them pointed at me and hissed, "He is ours." Before I could run, they seized me. Their touch was like fire and ice at the same time, burning me, yet freezing my bones. They dragged me, and suddenly the walls of the mortuary disappeared. I was falling, pulled through a tunnel of darkness. The air was filled with the smell of sulfur and burning flesh. I heard screams, thousands, millions of screams, echoing from below. I cried out, "God, help me! Jesus, save me!" But it was too late. The darkness swallowed me deeper. Then, I landed on a dry, cracked ground. The heat was unbearable. When I looked around, what I saw made my blood freeze. It was a land of fire. Rivers of lava flowed like water. Souls were burning, yet they could not die. Their flesh melted, only to grow back and burn again. I saw men and women running, but there was no escape. Chains bound many of them, demons whipped them, and the cries of agony filled the air. A demon pushed me forward, and I saw a pit where souls were thrown like garbage. Each time one hit the fire, the flames roared higher. The stench of decayed flesh and sulfur was everywhere. I saw one man screaming, his tongue swollen, his body charred black. He looked at me and cried, "Don't come here. Go back while you can." But I could not go back, I was already there. As I was dragged further, I began to see the kind of punishment that awaited me. A voice thundered in my head, "The wages of sin is death." I knew I was about to face judgment for everything I had done in secret, the human parts one sold, the dead women I violated, the money I worshipped. The demons laughed. One of them whispered in my ear, "You thought nobody saw you? We saw everything. This is your reward." My heart trembled. Fear swallowed me whole. I realized then that hell was real, more real than life itself, and I was trapped with no way out. The demons dragged me deeper into that burning land, and the screams grew louder with every step. My whole body trembled, though I was no longer flesh but spirit. Yet, the pain was real, more real than any pain I had felt on earth. Suddenly, they stopped in front of a chamber carved out of stone. The walls glowed red like molten iron, and inside I saw countless mortuary attendants, men dressed in the same white coats I used to wear. They were chained together, and fire poured over them like boiling oil. Each one screamed, "We thought nobody saw us. We thought the dead could not speak." One demon pushed me forward and sneered, "This is your family. These are the workers who desecrated the dead, who sold what was not theirs, who touched what should never be touched. You belong here. I shook my head violently. No. No, I'm not like them. But as soon as I said it, memories flashed before my eyes. Nights I cut the flesh of the dead for money, nights I defiled corpses, nights I laughed at the thought of hell being a joke. My sins rose like smoke around me. Another chamber opened, and I saw ritualists, men and women, screaming as demons cut them apart repeatedly, only for their bodies to form again for more torment. They cried for mercy, but none was given. One of them pointed at me and screamed, "You supplied us. You brought us here with your greed." The demons laughed. They turned to me and said, "Your punishment must fit your crimes." Then, one of them dragged me to a table that looked exactly like the mortuary slab I had worked on for years. They threw me on it, tied my hands and legs, and brought out sharp knives glowing with fire. "Since you enjoyed cutting others, let us cut you," one demon said with a wicked grin. They began slicing my body open. I screamed as they tore into me. There was no blood, only fire spilling out of my wounds. My cries echoed, but nobody came to help. Then, another demon brought the body of a woman, lifeless but burning, and threw her beside me. "You loved defiling the dead, didn't you?" it hissed. In that moment, shame burned deeper than the fire. I realized my lust had condemned me. The demons mocked me, forcing me to watch souls relive their sins over and over, but this time with torment beyond imagination. The smell was unbearable: sulfur, rotting flesh, smoke. The sounds of chains clanging, demons laughing, and souls weeping blended into one endless horror. At one point, I saw a lake, vast and endless, with flames leaping high like angry waves. Souls were inside, drowning but never dying. They clawed at each other, begging for one drop of water. I remembered the story of the rich man and Lazarus in Luke 16, where the rich man begged for a drop of water on his tongue. Now I was seeing it with my own eyes. Suddenly, a voice thundered above me, not gentle but full of authority: "This is the reward of sin. This is the end of those who mock my word. The wages of sin is death, and death has no mercy." I fell to my knees, though my body was in chains. My whole being trembled. I cried out, "Lord, give me one more chance. Please. I will confess, I will repent, I will warn others. Please, don't let me end here." The demons laughed even harder. One of them leaned close and whispered, "You are already ours. No one leaves this place." But just when I thought it was over, when despair swallowed me whole, a sudden light pierced the darkness. For the first time since I entered hell, I saw something the demons feared. They shrieked and covered their faces. The ground shook, and the flames bent backward as if bowing to a higher power. That was the moment I realized I was not forgotten. That blinding light grew stronger until the entire chamber of hell shook. The demons that had been tormenting me screamed like animals caught in a trap. They released me and fell back, writhing in terror. I couldn't understand it at first. Then I saw him. A figure clothed in white, brighter than the sun, stood before me. His eyes burned with fire, yet his presence was full of peace. Every part of hell trembled at his appearance. I knew immediately, it was Jesus. I fell on my face, weeping uncontrollably. "Lord, please, forgive me. I am not worthy. I have defiled myself. I have destroyed souls. I deserve this place." But his voice silenced everything. It wasn't a shout. It was power wrapped in calmness. He said, "Joseph, I did not create you for this place. I warned you many times, but you hardened your heart. You mocked my word, and you sold what was mine. You defiled my temple, even in the dead. But my mercy has brought me here today." As he spoke, I remembered the times I ignored the preachers on the street, the times I laughed when pastors warned about hell, the nights I knew I was wrong but silenced my conscience. Tears streamed down my face. Lord, please, one more chance. I will confess everything. I will not hide again. Please send me back. Then Jesus raised his hand, and instantly the chains around me broke. My wounds vanished. The fire that had consumed me was gone. For the first time, I felt love stronger than any sin I had ever committed. But his face grew solemn. He looked at me and said, "Go back and warn them. Tell your fellow mortuary attendants, I see everything they do in secret. Tell them the dead are mine, for every soul belongs to me. Tell them the blood of those they defile and sell cries out against them. Unless they repent, this same fire will be their portion." I trembled as he continued. "And not just them. Warn the ritualists, the liars, the drunkards, the fornicators, the lukewarm Christians. Hell is real, and time is short. I am coming soon. Let no one deceive themselves. What is done in secret is open before me. Repent, for the kingdom of God is at hand." The light around him grew brighter, and he touched my forehead gently. In that moment, I felt power surge through me, and I heard his final words echo. "Your time has not yet come. Go back, and do not be silent." Suddenly, I was falling backward, away from the fire, away from the demons. My spirit rushed through the tunnel of darkness again, but this time the light was pulling me upward. Then, with a gasp, I opened my eyes. I was back in the mortuary, lying on the cold floor, soaked in sweat. My heart was pounding. My co-workers stood around me shouting, "Joseph! Joseph! We thought you were dead." But I knew better. I had been dead. I had seen hell. And Jesus had given me a second chance. When I came back to life that night, everything inside me was different. The Joseph that loved money, lust, and alcohol was gone. I wept bitterly for days, not because of the pain I had seen, but because of the mercy I didn't deserve. Jesus could have left me there in hell, but he gave me a second chance. The very next morning, I resigned from the mortuary. I called the ritualists I once supplied and told them I would never again touch what belonged to God. They threatened me, they mocked me, but I didn't care. My soul had already seen eternity, and nothing on this earth was worth going back. I went to church, not as a casual Christian, but as a broken man begging for forgiveness. I confessed my sins openly to the pastor and to the congregation. People gasped when I spoke about selling human parts and defiling the dead, but I told them everything. For the first time, my soul felt clean. From that day, my mission changed. I began traveling to mortuaries, speaking to attendants, warning them with tears in my eyes, "Do not touch the dead. Do not sell what belongs to God. Their souls cry out, and heaven is watching you." Many laughed, but some repented. I told everyone who listened, hell is real, heaven is real, and Jesus is the only way. My habits changed completely. I stopped drinking, stopped smoking, stopped chasing women. I reconciled with my family, and every day I wake up with one prayer: Lord, keep me ready, because I never want to see that place again. My brothers and sisters, I beg you, do not take this message lightly. I was a mortuary worker who thought my secret sins would remain hidden, but in hell I saw that nothing is hidden before God. The screams I heard still haunt me, and I would not wish them on my worst enemy. If you are living in sin, repent now. If you are a Christian playing with compromise, stop before it is too late. Hell is not a story, it is real. Remember this: eternity is longer than time. Where will you spend it? You have heard my story, and you know the truth: hell is real, and no one escapes it without Jesus Christ. Now I ask you, do you believe hell is real? What choices are you making with your life today? Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. Your words may touch someone else's soul. And if this testimony has shaken you, do not delay, seek God now while there is still time. Thank you for listening. May God keep you safe, and may we all be ready when He calls us home. Until next time, stay prepared.